There it is.
Okay, I'll get going. Good morning, everyone. My apologies that my video is off. I'm not sure what's going on there. Rest assured, however, that I am actually dressed in a suit and a tie. So this is actually kind of sad that you can't see it. This is the first time I've done this in 11 months now, and I did remember how to tie a tie. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to the very first Transfer Tuesday, organized by the Bronx Transfer Affinity Group, BTAG for short. I'm Alex Ott, Associate Dean, Academic Affairs at Bronx Community College. It's wonderful to see, even if you can't see me, virtually so many people from across the Bronx and across New York City who are committed to the success of transfer students. Thank you all for coming. I would like to extend a special welcome to our community partners and to our guests from the CUNY Central Office. A little about BTAG before we get started. The Bronx Transfer Affinity Group was created in early 2018 with the overall mission of improving student transfer among member colleges and more broadly as well. One of BTAG's goals is to create a culture of transfer. This is particularly important for students on all our campuses. I'm going to give you a stat now, and this is a sobering one. 87% of students enrolling in a CUNY community college plan to complete a bachelor's degree, but only 11% have done so within 6 years. So 87% start at a CUNY community college intending to get a bachelor's degree, but only 11% have done so within 6 years. Improving these outcomes is critically important to expand social mobility for students and the communities that we serve. Another BTAG goal is to improve graduation rates at all of our colleges. We know that a transfer student who enters Lehman, for example, with an earned associate degree is twice as likely to complete his or her bachelor's degree compared to a transfer student who enters without that degree. So associate degree completion is very important. This is one of the reasons why BTAG emphasizes associate degree completion prior to transferring to the senior college. The BTAG colleges have been working together to make transfer more seamless for students by providing pre-transfer advising on the community college campuses, reviewing transfer pathways and curriculum alignment, updating transfer credit rules, and creating guaranteed admission and blanket articulation agreements. As many of you know, BTAG hosted a transfer advising summit in 2019. That's when this was legal to do and was not a public health hazard. That brought together hundreds of advisors to discuss topics that are important for transfer student success. A follow-up summit in 2020 wound up being canceled, of course, because of the pandemic. When it became clear that we wouldn't be able to host an in-person summit this year either, we decided to share the presentations that were going to occur at the BTAG Summit in 2020 in this Transfer Tuesdays format again. So this is how today's event is going to work seamlessly from here on out. Following some welcoming remarks from transfer researcher and advocate extraordinaire, Dr. Lexa Logue, we will have two sessions presented by members of the Bronx Transfer Affinity Group. Chris Bonacor from Lehman College will introduce us to Transfer Explorer, aka T-Rex, which is a great technology tool that allows anyone to see at a glance how courses will transfer among all CUNY colleges, and it's also the only dinosaur branded transfer tool out there. I guarantee that. And the second presentation following Chris will be Alana Burke from BMCC, who will discuss how transfer tools are used to support students' career exploration and academic planning. Both of these presentations are excellent, by the way. I have seen both of them already. Each presentation will last around 30 minutes. During the presentation, please submit any questions via the chat. We will have approximately 10 minutes after each presentation for the presenter to respond to questions. The session will be recorded, and both the recording and the presentations will be posted to the BTAG site in the coming days, cuny.edu/BTAG, or just put in BTAG into your Google browser. It is now my pleasure to introduce Lexa Logue. Dr. Logue is a research professor at the Center for Advanced Study at the CUNY Graduate Center and is former CUNY University provost. Her groundbreaking research on transfer student success and the often leaky transfer pipeline is critically important to the work of maximizing students' transfer credit across CUNY. Dr. Logue's work is drawing national attention to the key issue of transfer and has informed the efforts of BTAG since its inception. With that overview, I turn over the virtual podium to Dr. Logue.
Thank you, Alex, so very, very much. And it's a great pleasure to help open this series of Transfer Tuesdays, organized by that very wonderful transfer organization, BTAG. BTAG continues to work assiduously to improve the success of transfer students, and it's really a model for us all. I'm really glad that they're doing these Transfer Tuesdays. I also want to give you just a few numbers demonstrating how important is the work of BTAG and the work of everyone on this webinar and elsewhere who works with transfer students. New data show that nationally, 52% of bachelor's recipients who are in the workforce actually went to a community college at some point. At CUNY, for many years, over 50% of the graduates of every senior college has been a transfer student. So what that means is that the typical CUNY bachelor student is actually not a student who started college at that senior college. The typical CUNY bachelor student is actually a transfer student. Now that may all make it sound like transfer students at CUNY and nationally come out pretty good. A lot of community college students are getting bachelor's degrees, but let's look at the other end of the pipeline, at what is feeding into the pipeline. And nationally, and actually this goes back to something that Alex said, nationally over 80% of new community college students say they want a bachelor's degree. But at CUNY, as Alex said, it's 87%. Now, since community colleges rarely, and certainly don't at CUNY, give bachelor's degrees, this means that these students are going to need to transfer to fulfill their academic goals. Yet, 6 years later, nationally, only 17% of these students have received a bachelor's, and at CUNY, it's even worse. It's 11%, as Alex said. So the pipeline to a bachelor's from a community college is extremely leaky. Plus, as you know, at CUNY, we have lots of other directions of transfer going on. Now, in our work on transfer, we've documented many ways in which it's hard for students to transfer, even within CUNY. There are obstacles that they must overcome. New York State education law says specifically that all CUNY students are students of a single institution of higher education, and CUNY must have clear transfer paths and curricular alignment across its colleges. But even at CUNY, which has smooth transfer as part of its mission, its legal mission, if there are two students who are equal in every way we can measure, both wanting bachelor's degrees, but one starts at a community college and the other in a bachelor's program, the one who starts at the community college will be less likely to get a bachelor's than the one who starts in a bachelor's. Now, and this is an important point, given that associate's programs at CUNY and nationally tend to have higher percentages of students who are from underrepresented racial and ethnic groups, of students whose families have fewer financial resources, and associate's programs also have more first-generation college students. Anything that makes it harder for a community college student eventually to get a bachelor's than a student who starts in a bachelor's is differentially harming students in those groups. This is an example of what we mean by when we talk about structural or institutional racism. And this makes transfer actually a civil rights issue. CUNY has a particular concern in this way because at CUNY, students who are assessed as needing remediation must start college in an associate's program. But we know that often those assessments are wrong and that they are more likely to underplace students from those same underrepresented groups that I listed. Therefore, CUNY's structure, more so than some other state systems, differentially harms underrepresented students in terms of their obtaining a bachelor's degree. There are many challenges for transfer students that may be responsible for transfer making it harder to get a degree. And one of them has to do, just one, with credit transfer. Now, the Pathways Common Core, which I assume most people in this webinar are familiar with, that transfers seamlessly. But many major courses and major course prerequisites do not. In our projects that we've been working on, we can't directly do anything about how credits actually transfer. We have no standing or authority in such matters. But what we can do is make sure that everyone can easily find out how credits will transfer. Then people will easily be able to see where the problems are, which may lead to problems being fixed, and will definitely lead to students making better choices about what courses to take and where to transfer to. It would be wonderful if we had plenty of advisors to supply this sort of information, but we're never going to have enough people to do all of what needs to be done. Plus, no one could possibly keep in their head all of the information that's needed. But what we can do is use technology to help make all the needed information available and accurate, and to help the advisors and others who want to help transfer students. You're going to be hearing about that sort of approach, the technology approach, for the rest of this Transfer Tuesday. So now, coming up next is someone whose heart and soul are devoted to helping transfer students, Chris Bonacore. Chris is going to tell you about some pretty cool technology we've developed to help increase the transparency of credit transfer at CUNY. So thank you all, and have a great rest of this Transfer Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Dr. Logue, for your intro. I will take it over now and move on to the T-Rex presentation. There we go. All right, so I am Chris Bonacore, the Director of Student Success Initiatives at Lehman College. It's my pleasure to open up the Transfer Tuesday session with a quick presentation about Transfer Explorer and then a live demo. So this is a true team effort. This was a funded project by the Heckscher Foundation for Children, but you could see it's a project that came out from the ACT grant, which Lexa spoke about, and then also by Ithaca S&R, and it's a real team effort. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to be adding one more member to the team. Oh no, my background. It's a T-Rex, a little baby T-Rex. I'm going to be a first-time father in about a month. So I'll have a new member of the ACT transfer team. So a little bit of background on the project. So does anyone remember TIPS? So TIPS was an older platform that students and everybody could use to see how courses transfer. But that went away a few years ago. And then after it went away, there really wasn't a good way to see how courses transfer. So Dr. Vita Rubinowitz had a call to action around 2016 for campuses to review their transfer credit equivalencies. Then Chris Vickery, a computer science faculty member at Queens College, took this call to action and developed the original concept for what became T-Rex. And then the grant funding enabled us to hire Elkin Urea, who's an amazing designer and developer at Lehman, to develop what we're now calling the Transfer Explorer. So there are three main goals of T-Rex: to provide clear transfer information, transparency, and to facilitate ongoing communication and review. And you'll see as I go through the demo, you'll see how these things are accomplished by the platform. So how it works. So transfer credit equivalencies and course catalog information are pulled from CUNY first. The data is stored in a Lehman database and it's refreshed nightly. So I often get a question, how do I make a change to T-Rex? There is really no such thing to making a change to T-Rex because all the changes come directly from CUNY first. So if you see something wrong in T-Rex, it's likely wrong in CUNY first, and I would need you to report that to me so that we could work on getting that fixed. So it's very unlike TIPS, which was a separate database that needed to be maintained. Only CUNY first needs to be maintained in order for the information to be accurate. So since we started tracking on May 21st, we've had over 11,000 unique users access the site over 18,000 times. So this is just kind of an example of places around the web where T-Rex is being linked to. Most recently, the CUNY Transfer Hub, which I encourage all of you to check out if you haven't already. If you just Google CUNY Transfer Hub, it should be the first thing that comes up. There's a lot of great information in that website, and T-Rex is prominently displayed on that homepage. So I have a few points here to help you make the most out of T-Rex, and you'll see some of this when I actually get through the demo. So you can search for any course equivalency or multiple at a time in any direction across CUNY. Use the search boxes to easily filter your selection. So you can see here, you'll see this image here. Use the search box for quick and easy filtering. You don't have to scroll so much. You can use the search boxes. Also be on the lookout for toggle buttons. So I'll explain this a little bit more in the demo, but you can toggle on and off things like to see recently offered courses or to include or not inactive courses. For any courses that are recently offered, which we define as being offered now, in the future, or 1 semester ago, you'll see a link that says this course is currently being offered, which links to the CUNY Global Search that can enable you or students or anybody to see what actual sections are available. Use the bookmarks. We have a great feature in T-Rex, and you can see it here, bookmark this equivalency, that lets you easily share and store your quote favorite equivalencies. It makes it really easy to send a direct link to see the equivalency to anybody else. You can also generate an email or save it as a PDF. This is really cool. We have a rule change icon. So when an equivalency in CUNY first changes, T-Rex records that change. So that makes it easy to track what something used to be and what it is now. Reach out. There are plenty of places on the site where you can submit a question or report an issue. There are email addresses, there are submission boxes, and all of that comes directly to me. Last thing, we speak about this a little bit less, but the entire CUNY course catalog is available on T-Rex for you to browse. So these are the use case examples I'm going to go through when I get to the demo in a few minutes. But basically, I want to walk you through actual samples of how you would compare a course that will transfer to different schools, how you can check which course can be recommended to facilitate a reverse transfer, find what courses you can take on e-permit, and then also how a faculty might review their courses in the department, how the courses are treated across CUNY. So there are a few things that are still on the roadmap that I want to highlight. So the continued development of the faculty suggestion interface, which is the login component of the site, I should mention, I didn't already, is completely public and open. You do not need to log in. Everything that is available is accessed without a login. But there is one piece where faculty are able to log in to make suggestions on equivalencies that's still being developed and promoted. We are developing, in partnership with another program at Baruch, a component to show common transfer paths. So think about something like Zicklin or something like City College Engineering or other programs that have a lot of prerequisites to get into the program. We're going to use T-Rex to make that translation so that it's easier for students and advisors to know what they should take at their other school in order to get into those kinds of programs. We are developing, this is really exciting as well, unique transfer links. So every CUNY course will have a link that, once it's followed, can bring you to one screen that shows you how that course transfers across every other school in CUNY. So the idea there is that we could add these links to things like syllabus and college websites and bulletins and possibly even the CUNY First course catalog. We plan to incorporate SUNY transfer equivalencies. A really exciting thing that's on the horizon is the incorporation of DegreeWorks data to not only indicate course applicability, to not only indicate transferability, but also applicability. So right now you can only see how the courses transfer, but not how they apply. But Chris Vickery is working on getting the DegreeWorks data incorporated so that we could see how it will apply. We are in the midst of a user interface refresh, and I'll give you a quick sneak peek of that during the demo, what that will look like, and also having some additional search options. So one more slide before we get to the demo, but I often get the question, what is the difference between T-Rex and TWIF? So transfer what if and T-Rex side by side. I put together this chart, and I think the headlines for me here are transfer what if requires a login from either an administrator or a student, and Transfer Explorer does not. Transfer What If has student level information that's tied to students' enrollment and course taking. Transfer Explorer has course level information, so it's not tied to a student. So the Transfer What If will show you how a course transfers and how it applies, while T-Rex will only show you right now how a course transfers, but the applicability is on the roadmap. I put a searchable limit there, so when you run a Transfer What If, you could compare 3 different programs at once. When you're using T-Rex, you can literally compare the entire university with a couple of clicks. So I'm going to switch my share screen and go into a demo now of my 4 different use cases, as well as show you some other functionality of the system, and then I'll take any questions and any questions you all have. So give me one moment. Okay. So here's the homepage, explorer.lehman.edu will get you to the page, and from anywhere. You could type it in, you can Google it, you can find it on any of the number of websites that I mentioned earlier. I'll give you a quick tour of the homepage so you know what's here, and then I'll go into the use cases. So there's a bunch of information here to learn how and why to use Transfer Explorer. Read here. We have more information here about how a student would use it, a faculty and staff and advisors. Notice almost everywhere we have this comment box where you can submit a question or an issue, and that comes directly to me. You can contact transfer.explorer@lehman.cuny.edu, and you guessed it, that comes directly to me. So any of those ways comes to me, and then I troubleshoot and respond to the inquiry. I've been getting more and more, hi, I'm a student, I want to get into the Baruch accounting program. Can you help me? Because this is not only a Lehman platform, it's really for the whole university. So I think students are finding it in a lot of different places and asking questions, which is great. Right now, there are two main components, the view course equivalencies and the CUNY course catalog, which you can easily access from these two buttons right here. We promote the transfer what if option as well on the homepage. So if you're a current CUNY student, we encourage you to also use transfer what if. And then down here, just a little bit more about the project. And again, contact buttons and all that stuff. All right, so let's jump into the demo. So the use case examples, I'm going to run through these examples. So the first one I'm going to go through is you want to compare how 4 different colleges will accept a course that a student is considering registering for. So the scenario here is that a student is pursuing a degree in economics at BMCC. And at BMCC, there are a few different electives, and I'm going to pop open this other tab here just so you could see what I'm referring to. So an AA in economics allows a student to choose 9 credits from the following. So one way you might use TREX is to say, well, I'm a student pursuing economics and I have to choose 9 of these credits. So which ones should I choose? Which ones are going to be the most transfer friendly? Which ones are going to be the most helpful to me after I transfer for my bachelor's program? So if I go back here to my Transfer Explorer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say BMCC is my sending college. So sending college is AKA the college that the course is coming from. The receiving college is the college that the course is going to. So I'm going to go from BMCC to Baruch, Brooklyn, City, and Lehman. You can select everything if you want, check all. You can select more than 4, you can select only 1. Really, it's very flexible. So once I press next, I'm presented with a list of disciplines that match between those institutions. So I mentioned during the presentation to please use the search box for quick and easy filtering. It can look pretty daunting to scroll through all this to look for what you're trying to find. But notice there are 530 disciplines where the sending college is BMCC. But as soon as I type the word ECO, I go to 4. So it quickly, easily, and efficiently filters these subjects so you can tick on what you're looking for. So I can tick on the economics box. And now I'm considering between the 2 courses that I'm considering taking are 226. And again, I'm using the search box because look, I typed 226 and I went from 58 matches to 4 matches right away with just typing the course I'm looking for. So looking at 226, I can expand all of these buttons. I'm going to add everything I do here today to the bookmark so I could show you at the end what that does. So ECO 226 transfers to Baruch as ECO 7000, economics elective, so on and so forth. Brooklyn also as an elective, City as an elective, and Lehman as an elective. So the other course I'm considering taking out of that list is international economics. So not only does the search box work for catalog numbers, but it also works for course description. So I can type enter. That's going to narrow my field down here to ECO 221. And now I could see it'll transfer to Baruch as international economics, Lehman as international economics, City as an elective, and Brooklyn as international macroeconomics. So now if I'm a student or an advisor and I had to choose between these two courses, I think I would choose this one because I know that this course will transfer as a quote real course, whereas the other one will only transfer as an elective. I will give you a sneak peek here at the new component that will show you this in one view. So this is not quite public yet, but as promised in the description, this is a sneak peek of what's coming. This is a unique link that will show you if this course is taken, ECO 221, this is the credit that will be given upon transfer. And in this one screen, you can see how it's given at Baruch, at Bronx, at Brooklyn, and so on. You can scroll through the entire university here and in one glance see how that course transfers across every single school and expand. And you can see here again, the courses being offered, link if they are. Let me go to the second use case. So the other way you can use this, so by clicking this top left link, it brings you back to the home page. If I go here as well, you can see if I'm back here on the main, in my main journey, if I'm still looking at from BMCC to other colleges, I can just change disciplines and tick on different boxes. If I want to change colleges, I can do that. So for this use case, I'm a student that needs one more course to graduate with my associate's degree, but I've already transferred. So what course should I take at the senior college that would satisfy the final requirement? So in this case, I was a student pursuing an AS in dance at Queensborough, but I transferred to Queens before I finished my associate's degree. At BTAG, we really encourage students to stay and finish their associate's degree before they transfer, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. So, but in this case, a student transferred before graduating and they need one more course. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do Queens College to Queensborough because I'm a student at Queens doing a reverse transfer to Queensborough. Then I am going to select dance because my advisor at Queensborough told me that I need dance 231 in order to graduate with my associate's degree from Queensborough via reverse transfer. So I can search here in the box dance and I'll get my dance tick box. And I can type 231 and here's my result. So I know that at Queens, I can take dance 161, which can then transfer back to Queensborough as dance 231, and that will help me get my reverse transfer. The next use case, a student is trying to graduate the semester and they need a course that the school isn't offering or it's closed. So what course can they take on e-permit that would be acceptable? So here I'm going to do change colleges. And I'm planning on graduating with an AS in math from Bronx, and I need to take linear algebra. So show me everything across the university that's available that I can take that can satisfy that requirement. So I'm going to check all, so all sending colleges and how their credits will transfer to Bronx. When you select a lot of options, it takes an extra couple of seconds to load. So you see the search box isn't coming up right away. It takes just a couple of extra seconds and then that'll pop in right here. So the subject I'm looking for is math. So again, I'm going to type math. I'm going to tick on the math tick box here. And the course that I need is linear algebra. So once this loads, right now what the system is doing is showing all math courses across CUNY and how they are set up to transfer to Bronx Community College. So here I only want linear algebra, so I'm going to type the word linear. And I can start looking and seeing what course I should consider taking and is the course being offered. So this course is currently being offered. I could take math 315 at BMCC to get math 42 at Bronx. I can take math, that one was last offered in fall 2020, so that's not an option. But this one is, that one's not an option because it's math 99. This one is an option, math 338 to math 42, linear algebra to linear algebra. All right, last use case, then I'm going to show you a couple of other features, then I'm going to take questions and answers. So the last thing I want to show is, let's say you're a faculty member or a program director and you want to see how the courses in your department are being treated across CUNY. So the scenario here is that a faculty member at Hostos wants to see how their department's courses are being treated across all of the university. So Hostos to all. The department is Visual and Performing Arts. So I could type VPA for the subject, tick it on. And the course that I teach, the course that I teach as a faculty member is photography. So I can go ahead and just search for photography, and you see it quickly narrows down to 17 entries. So I can see here now in one shot, I have 17 entries. I can change this from 10 to 25 so I could see them all in one shot. I can see quickly how the different colleges accept the course that I'm teaching. And then as another sneak peek, you can also, once this is set up and ready to be shared, we will have a mechanism by which you can search for this course and see some of that same information in this one kind of view here, where I can see how the digital photography course is treated across all of the university. Okay, so those were the use cases. Let me run through the couple of features, and then I'm going to stop sharing my screen and take any questions, and that will leave us enough time to go back and look at any of this stuff again if we need to. So I want to show you what the rule change looks like. So if I go through and I search for Baruch to College of Staten Island, math. And recently there was a rule change for the course 3020. So when you're looking through and navigating a rule, you can see this icon right here, show rule changes. Whenever you see this icon, that means that something changed in CUNY First. So by clicking it, we could see that on 9/8/2020, this course was Math 232. And then on 9/17/2020, it became Math 233. So the idea here, and Lexa mentioned this also, providing complete transparency to rule changes, because there is no formal approval process or mechanism by which courses can change equivalencies. So by showing it here, we're giving students and advisors the information to know that something changed, because this information, believe it or not, is not even available really in CUNY First. It's kind of gets overwritten. So we figured out a way to go ahead and display that here for transparency purposes. I want to show you what it looks like when a course is not evaluated. So I'm going to show you LaGuardia to all. And the course I want to show you is in the HUM discipline. And 161. So you can see, not only are we showing how courses currently transfer, but we're also showing if a course has not yet been evaluated. So you can see, the certain rows here where Brooklyn has this as an equivalent, but City does not have it yet. So by expanding this, let's say a student really wanted to know how this course would transfer to City, unevaluated course request, you guessed it, comes to me. I go in and I can forward this to the appropriate person at City College and ask them to have the course evaluated. I also know that the university registrar does a good job of notifying colleges on a weekly basis to clean this up. So this used to be a lot bigger of a problem than it is now. There aren't that many of these out there, but we do show it in case students want to have that kind of expedited. All right, and the last thing I want to show you is these toggle boxes and the power of them. So I'm going to show you all colleges to Lehman. And I'm going to select economics. You see, it takes an extra couple seconds just because there's a lot of data behind that. So I mentioned in the presentation, by default, when you're looking for equivalencies, we hide inactive courses and we only show recently offered courses. So what I want to do is reverse these tick boxes so you can see what it does. So right now I have 252 entries for all colleges across CUNY and how they transfer to Lehman economics. The reason I have 252 is because all of these courses on the left side, on the sending side, are recently offered and active. So if I change this, take this tick box off, now I'm going to get courses that not only are active, but also haven't been offered in quite a while. You see my entries went way up. And then I'm going to tick on the include inactive, and then the entries are going to go up again. So from 200, 400 something to 500 something to 800 something. So I want to show you what that looks like. So if I do 151, for example, you could see this course was last offered in fall 2015. The idea behind this is that students still need the information, advisors still need the information for courses that are not being offered, but we hide it by default just because it kind of clutters it up if we show it, but it is there. So in case you're ever looking for something and you don't see it, I encourage you to switch these toggles. The other thing I want to show you is what it looks like when it's inactive. So if I do Econ 201 from Brooklyn College. Where'd it go? Here we go. So when it's inactive, you can see we put this icon here. It was last offered in summer 2010, and it's inactive. Just because a course is inactive or not recently offered doesn't mean it won't transfer, because obviously we have students coming back from being gone for a while. So that's the importance here of toggling this on. The last thing I want to show before I move on to the Q&A, I've been adding courses to my bookmarks to show you what it does. So as you click this, you see this says 5. I'm going to click another one here, and I'm going to show 6. So if I do view bookmarks, in my bookmarks window here, all of the courses that I added are here. I can generate a unique link, share that with anybody, and they could see these things. I could send an email, or I can save a PDF. And all of these things will save this window and be able to share that screen. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. I think my time's up. I'm going to stop sharing and show my video, and then have take any questions and answers. Thank you all.
All right, right on time. Thank you, Chris. So there are some questions that came through the chat during the presentation. So I just wanted to begin. There was a question, Chris, where does the data from professors making suggestions go, and how is it used?
Great question. So when the faculty suggestion component is being more widely used, the data is stored in the Transfer Explorer database. It's a workflow program. So basically, as the suggestions are made, it's kicked off to the appropriate departments on both sides, and they're communicated with. And the idea is that if I'm a faculty member at one school that makes a suggestion for a change in another school, if that other school agrees, the information will be updated in CUNY first. And then what that'll do is make that equivalency change for future students, and also show that rule change icon that I showed in the presentation.
Excellent. And a somewhat related question, when there's a course number change, how do the equivalency carry over, or how do the other CUNY departments know to reevaluate?
So it's kind of a little bit of a loaded question, and I don't want to get too technical, because if you change your course number but you keep the same ID, the equivalencies don't change, because the equivalencies in CUNY First are set up based on a unique ID. So if you change something, say from just because you want to change it from 201 to 101, if the ID doesn't change, the equivalency won't change in that for that particular course. But what this platform does is, even without any kind of login, it enables anybody to go in and periodically check how the courses are transferring, especially with that unique link search I showed, and also via the traditional Explorer search.
Got it. And another question just came in. If a course equivalency has changed after the student has taken the course, assuming it would transfer, can the equivalency be appealed?
So there is an appeal process that we do promote on the in the website, and also on the Transfer Hub and around the CUNY website, around other CUNY websites. of course, especially now with the rule change, a student is always welcome to appeal if they feel like they're not getting the equivalency that they deserve. And now with the unique link and the rule change, they can use that as part of their case. I think in the past, it would have been really hard to prove that something changed because the information just wasn't really recorded. So I think it does give students a little bit more ammunition, I guess, in order to make their case.
Got it. And there's another question regarding the timeline for incorporating SUNY transfer equivalencies.
So that's a little bit longer, a little bit further down the line. It's on our radar. It's not technically part of the grant, right? I'm kind of like looking at like stuff. I think it's not really part of like what we're charged to do, but we want to do it and we know it's important. And so we have to get a couple of other things in line first before we tackle the SUNY equivalencies.
And we need more funding.
Yeah.
Right. Another question came through. How do you know who to send the inquiries to at the other college? Is there a listserv for transfer processing individuals?
Great question. So when the faculty suggestion component is more widely used, you don't have to know who to send it to because it's part of the workflow. So let's say you're a biology professor at BMCC and you want to make a suggestion for a biology course at City. That will go to the biology department. Whoever is responsible at City College for making that determination, it will go there as part of the workflow process. So you don't actually have to know, but what's really cool about the faculty suggestion component, it does enable uploading of syllabus. There's a chat component in there, so you can actually kind of chat back and forth with your counterpart at the other school, and all of that stuff is stored in the database.
Excellent. And I think we have time for just one more here. In terms of customization of T-Rex and other websites, where would you recommend that this live on a college website?
So one thing I actually didn't show, but this makes me realize, so our developer is working on, if anyone knows what an iframe is. So it's a way for a website to kind of be natively integrated into your website. So if that's something that's interesting to you, reach out to me and we could see if we could get that on your site. But I think any transfer out pages, any transfer in pages, admissions, transfer credit, you know, anything, any of those places on your website that have to do with transfer students and transfer credit, you can put the link and have students direct out to Transfer Explorer. And then the other thing, once we get the unique transfer link component ready, I'm hoping that what will happen is that for many pages out there that outline curriculum, not only are you going to have, you know, a link that says the course description, course title, but you can have a T-Rex link that shows how the course will transfer across all the other colleges.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Chris. And I think that is all the time we have for this initial presentation, but lots of wonderful information there. It is now my pleasure to introduce Vita Rabinowitz. Dr. Rabinowitz is former CUNY interim chancellor and CUNY University provost. Prior to her university roles, Dr. Rabinowitz was provost and faculty at Hunter College. In her CUNY executive leadership roles, Dr. Rabinowitz lent key central office support for the founding of BTAG and its Transfer Summit in 2019. As you just heard from Chris Bonacore, Dr. Rabinowitz is a strong advocate for improving transfer and transfer student success. So Dr. Rabinowitz, I will yield the floor to you. I think you might be muted, Dr. Rabinowitz.
Colleagues, I'm delighted to be among you, and I'm thrilled to be able to say a few words. I want to thank Lexa Logue for inviting me to be part of this group. I, of course, was once university provost, just as Lexa was, and it's impossible to sit in that seat and not see that vertical transfer is a prime, must be a prime passion. It's a civil rights issue, as Lexa said. It's a social justice issue. It's an academic issue. It's all of those things. So I am thrilled to be part of the group. I want to thank the Heckscher Foundation for its support of this work and its support of me as a leadership fellow. And just want to say that I will be working on various aspects of this, rooting for you always, and just delighted. So thank you so much for the acknowledgement, and let's get on with the program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rabinowitz. So now it is my pleasure to move us into this second portion of our Transfer Tuesday event. I would like to introduce Alana Burke, who is the Associate Director of Advisement at Borough of Manhattan Community College. So Alana, take it away.
Thanks, Danny. Let me share my screen. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Helping Us Do Our Job Better, Technology Review. As Danny said, my name is Alana Burke, and I'm an Associate Director in the Academic Advisement and Transfer Center at BMCC. During my presentation today, I'll be talking about our transfer advisement services, which are done in conjunction with our academic advisement sessions with our students. I'll be talking about how we leverage the use of technology within that discussion with the students and highlighting some of the partnerships that we have at the college. So before I get into it, I just want to take you on a trip down memory lane. Our center was established in 1994 with a staff of one, the coordinator of academic advising. I cannot imagine being in a center, right, an advising center with just one person with the sheer numbers of students that we have to advise. So almost 30 years later, we are a staff of 49, including our director, and we provide academic and transfer advisement to unaffiliated students. So this means that we do not advise allied health students, such as paramedic majors, health information technology, respiratory therapy. Our nursing students, we also do not advise ASAP students, BMCC Learning Academy, College Discovery students, and CUNY Edge. During our enrollment cycles, we see approximately 16,500 students. Yes, 16,500 students within our center alone. And we believe that the size of our staff definitely does help with allowing us to provide academic and transfer advisement. Within our advisement session, these are just some of the questions that we tend to ask our students. What is their current major, their ultimate career goal, and the 4 institutions that they would like to attend? As one of only 2 community colleges in CUNY that houses both their academic advisement and transfer advisement in one center, we talk about transfer from the very beginning. We talk to our students about the transfer timeline, where if they have 0 to 15 credits, we want them to start creating a list of various academic or career interests. And of course, meet with an advisor to develop their educational plan. 16 to 30 credits, we want them to develop a more concrete list of schools based on their goals, interests, and values. They need to start thinking about what is a best fit school. Oftentimes students, they listen to their friends, they listen to their parents, but we want them to focus on what's a best fit for them. 31 to 45 credits, we want them to ask the institutions that they're interested in attending questions and get their answers so that they can then finalize their list and they can meet with an advisor for a graduation audit. And then in the last semester, that is when they should be submitting their transfer application and filing for graduation. We also talk to them about reality-based transfer planning. So what are the schools they're interested in attending? What is the GPA requirement for the specific program that they're interested in attending? And what is the GPA that they currently have as the semester goes on? We also want to talk to them about the type of application that they may need to submit. Some applications just require their transcript, and other applications allow them to submit a personal statement, letters of recommendation, and their co-curricular or extracurricular activities. We talk to them about commuting. If you live in the Bronx, you may not want to attend an institution that is all the way in Brooklyn, right? Because you have to factor in travel time. So we need them to think realistically about these types of topics. And then for students that are interested in SUNY and private institutions, we also talk to them about scholarships. All of this is done to stress the importance of early transfer planning and early career exploration. Once students take advantage of this, they're then able to take advantage of the resources that we have. by preparing early rather than at the tail end, okay? So what will I be talking about today? Or what will I be focusing on? Very briefly, T-Rex, career coach, articulation agreements, and doing a demo of transfer what if or TWIF. Not going to go into too much detail with T-Rex because shout out to Chris, he just gave an excellent presentation. But as it relates to our advisors at BMCC, our advisors are able to use T-Rex to help our students plan out their future courses at BMCC. So if there's a particular program at an institution within CUNY that they want to attend, they can look to see how the courses they want to take will transfer. And then that helps to determine if they actually do take these classes or not. It allows our students to be more planful with their options and their electives. All right, so let's talk career coach. At BMCC, we have developed a system called Career Coach. And this allows our students to take an assessment to help them determine what their, oops, I'm sorry, my apologies. This allows students to help them take an assessment to identify their interests. It's a preliminary way for us to work with our students to help them determine their interests. I'm going to hop over to our Career Coach website really quickly so that you can see what it looks like. So our Career Coach assessment is accessible through our Center for Career Development's website. Like I said, students are able to take the career assessment. They can also browse careers and browse communities. So there are two different assessments. We have a quick start assessment, which is only 6 questions, and the detailed assessment, 60 questions, which of course takes far longer. I'm going to do the quick start assessment really quickly, just so you can have an idea of what it looks like. So the first question asks about whether you want to work with hands-on. I strongly disagree. Would you like to observe, learn, analyze, evaluate? Yes. Would you like to express yourself creatively? Would you like to inform, enlighten, help, teach, counsel, cure, use skills with words? Would you like to influence, persuade, lead, or manage? And then would you like to work with facts, numbers, and details? Not a person. So I've taken this assessment a number of times. It comes out the same every time. It would give students their top 3 traits. Enterprising, social, investigative is mine. And then as the student scrolls down, it actually tells them what their career matches are to the traits. Students can then click on any one that they want more information on. I'm going to click on human services. This then brings up the different fields within human services. And this then gives more in-depth information, salary, level of education, etc. So our advisors have, some of our advisors actually have been trained in using the STRONG inventory. So we tend to use the STRONG, in addition to giving them this assessment on Career Coach, because sometimes students still may not know what they want to do. And our center actually purchased STRONG profiles to allow students to take the assessment with us. And some of our advisors have been trained in interpreting the assessment. However, if we find that students need more in-depth assistance, we're able to refer them to our Center for Career Development, where the students are able to take the Myers-Briggs, and a trained career specialist will be able to sit with them, go through their STRONG profile in addition to their Myers-Briggs to best assist the students. So we've done some training on career development so that we can help our advisors to incorporate career advising into academic advisement as well. And we've done a lot of work in trying to connect our majors to careers, which you can see from our career maps. So with our career maps, students, it's a 1-page document that students are able to see a description of the major. They're able to see the specialized skills, the organizations that they can join once they have the degree. They're able to view their articulation agreements. So you can see that we have articulation agreements with Hunter, with Lehman College, with LIU, John Jay, but students are also able to see other transfer options because sometimes students have their heart set on going to a specific institution. So they're able to see what majors the institution may offer. At the very bottom, they're also able to see the salaries because I think a lot of students, they might tend to just go straight to the salary. So it's good to have all of the information in one place. Let me go back to the. So what's next after BMCC? Does anyone know our motto? You can feel free to type it in the chat. Yes, we believe that if you start here, you go anywhere. And in preparation for going anywhere, like I said, we're responsible for transfer. So part of our transfer resources are our articulation agreements, which we are very proud of. We currently have a total of 159 individual active agreements with institutions within CUNY and outside of CUNY, SUNY, and private institutions. So I just want to take a quick minute and show you our articulation agreement website, which is housed within our website, Academic Advisement and Transfer. When a student clicks on it, they're able to see our umbrella partnerships and all of our articulation agreements by major. So students are able to come on here, look at their major, the major listed, and decide, based on who we have our agreements with, where they might want to attend. So I clicked on human services. Human services typically leads to social work. So this will tell the student which institution they're able to transfer to for a BA or BS in social work or in disability studies, and make an informed decision based on that. Students can click on the link and it will take them to the detailed document that is the articulation agreement. More recently, we've actually been doing, we've been including a 2+2 plan within our agreements. So students are able to see not just what they should complete at BMCC that will transfer with them to that institution, but also once they get to the institution, they will be able to see the courses that they need to take to be able to graduate within 2 years. This time, I want to give a shout out to our track program, which is our Transfer Review Application Connection Program. This program is a collaboration between our center and faculty members from various academic departments, and it's aimed at helping students, of course, prepare for transfer. The program is able to provide a holistic support to qualified BMCC students, and participants of the program are paired with a faculty member that helps them to identify their academic interests, explore transfer options, and complete application requirements. Students are also assigned to a dedicated academic advisor that works collaboratively with the faculty member to ensure that the students receive comprehensive support services throughout the transfer process. In addition, our other transfer resources is, of course, our Transfer What If, or TWIF. As everyone knows, it's located in DegreeWorks, and it allows students and advisors to see how courses will transfer to a specific CUNY institution for a specific program. So as Chris already highlighted, TREX allows students to plan ahead. So it allows students to see if they want to take a particular course, how the course will transfer, while TWIF allows students to see courses that they have already taken, how it will transfer to a specific institution. So I'm going to do a quick demo of TWIF. And this student is a Science for Health Professions. In your DegreeWorks account, you should see worksheets, planner, plans, and then Transfer What If. You click on My Transfer What If, and you're able to select a transfer major or plan. So let's say the student wants to become a dietitian. So click on Foods and Nutrition. Click on OK, and then it brings up all of the CUNY institutions that offer this program. So let's select Hunter Lehman, and Queens. And then we run the transfer what if. Sometimes, depending on how many institutions you choose, the audit takes a little bit longer. Since I've chosen 3, then it may take a little while to load. Okay, great. And then this immediately will show the student or the advisor how the courses or the percentage of the courses that each institution will take. This then, of course, allows the student to make an informed decision based on the college that will accept the majority of their credits. So we see here, Hunter will only take about 43% of the students' courses that they've taken. Lehman will take 57% and Queens will take 47%. The great thing about TWIF is that students are able to not just see that, but they're able to view the audit in detail. So there's a list of all the courses that they've taken. And then as they scroll down, it shows them what Lehman College will accept towards the dietetics program. And then the college option, writing intensive, and then their elective classes. Students are also able to save the audit as a PDF. So they can go back and save each audit and then do a side-by-side comparison. And then, as I said, they're able to just make an informed decision. Let's take a quick look at Queens College. So it's interesting, Lehman was taking all of the courses in the Common Core and Queens is not. All right, so this will then also show the students the elective classes not allowed. And then with Hunter, students are able to, again, see the classes that will and won't count. Okay, let me go back. So I want to thank you for joining us today. And at this time, we will take some questions.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Alana. So there were some questions that came up in the chat. One of them earlier on was about how to best address when at the two-year schools, there are two similar course choices, right? One has an equivalent that satisfies the four-year school prereq, and the other transfers as a general elective. So at BMCC, there's two nutrition courses, right? One equals the Hunter NFS major requirement and the other under the HEB.
Oh, right. The science. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I guess it was just navigating that, maybe. How best with
that, I think that we would probably use T-Rex more for that, because T-Rex, which, well, again, it depends on whether or not the student has taken or plans to take. So if they want to take nutrition and they want to attend Hunter's program, then we would use T-Rex to see which course would more benefit them. But if they've already taken the course, then we're able to go into TWIF to see how the course will then transfer, barring we do not have an articulation agreement with the other institution.
Right. Correct. There's another comment in the chat. Students and staff are confused by the language, elective courses not allowed. Sounds like the courses.
That one, yeah, that was in TWIF. Yeah. So that would depend on the rules at the receiving institution. So if courses transfer over as electives, they may or may not allow it to apply to a particular degree or a particular major at the other institution.
Correct. And so here's a question for the ages that maybe a few folks want to chime in on. With an AA degree, aren't all the credits guaranteed to transfer to the senior college?
I'd like to answer that question. I was just typing in the chat about it. Okay, this is a really common misconception, really, really prevalent. There is absolutely no effect on how credits transfer by having an associate's degree or not. The only effect it has is that the student will do fewer college option general education credits when they get to the senior college. But in terms of how the courses they have taken at the community college will transfer, there is no effect of having that degree. Each course transfers according to the equivalency rule that is programmed into CUNY first, and it's programmed in course by course by course, with no influence on anything else that the student is doing or has done. Does that clarify, I hope?
Couldn't have said it better myself, Lexa.
It's very frustrating because this is very, very common that people think this. And I think I know why, but I'm not going to explain it because it'll confuse people more. So to say there is no effect of the associate's degree.
Right. And this next question actually can be for Alana and Chris. It was about the plan to intro these platforms to students, especially being in the remote environment.
So I know for our advisors, one of the things that they do when they meet with the students is they share their screens with the student, I'm sorry. Our advisors typically do a Zoom advisement session with our students. And once they share the screen, the student is able to view degree works from the advisor perspective. But if they're on their phone and they have their computer or they have another device, they're also able to log into degree works so they can see how it looks from their end. But when the advisor shares their screen, they're able to show the student TWIF and just show them the tool and explain how it would work depending on where the student is in their academic journey. If it's a brand new student, it's more of just explaining, hey, this is a tool that you can use as you go through your academic journey with us at BMCC. If it's a student who has more credits, they can then realistically see how the credits will transfer to the program of their choice within CUNY.
And for T-Rex, I'll take this as a plug for anybody out there that wants to have me speak to students, or like we haven't done as much as I would like of like kind of student focus groups on T-Rex. We've had a few pieces of input from students who have attended presentations like this, and the feedback is positive. I see a comment here. Actually, next week I'm doing a presentation for Queensborough, where they've invited their students, faculty, and staff to learn about T-Rex. So I think anything like that, I'm happy to do it. I want, the more websites that this can be added to, the more ways that students find it. I think that's, and we welcome any feedback from them. So.
Terrific. And Alana, there was a question also during your presentation. Is the student career plan only an internal platform software / guide?
The career coach?
The career plan, yeah, I'm assuming the career coach, correct? Is
so
it
career coach can be accessed by anyone. It's on our website. It's pretty much open. Anyone can log into our website, can go onto our website, access our Center for Career Development's webpage, and then click on career coach, and it allows them to do the assessment and see all of the information. So no, it's not restricted to just BMCC students.
That is great to know. And there was another kind of bigger, broader question that came up about the process for developing articulation agreements. Where should one begin? I don't know if folks have some, words of wisdom for others.
So with us, we take a couple of different approaches. Sometimes we have had advisors who have approached the receiving institution. We've had faculty who have come to us because they have a colleague at a receiving institution and they feel like, okay, it'll be a great fit. One thing I do want to point out is that every advisor within our center is a liaison to one of our academic departments. So that way we are able to give information to our respective department and get information back from them as it relates to changes that they're making to their program, et cetera. So we tend to work very closely with the faculty when we're creating our agreements. But the advisors are the ones, we draft it, we have it, we send it to the receiving institutions so that they can take a look at it, agree with it, make changes. They send it back to us. Then once all parties agree, then we get the necessary signatures. So it's pretty much, but yeah.
Yeah, just to add a plug for Ron Banks and Emily Denham, the BTAG has blanket articulation agreements with Lehman and the other BTAG partners. There's been a lot of work done on that front to kind of make that a little bit easier on students. There's program alignment sort of documents that are out there. So BTAG has made a lot of progress on that front.
So how relevant are articulations when we have tools to show students how their degree transfers at the course level?
So the benefit of an articulation agreement is that it shows the student that the receiving institution will take all of their credits into their program, right? So the student is able to see how many credits will satisfy the Common Core, the major requirements, and elective requirements. So instead of just blanket or elective, whatever, students can actually see how the classes will apply, and they're guaranteed that all of their credits will transfer because of the articulation agreement. And the articulation agreement is especially important for students with an AAS as well, because they don't have that many Common Core requirements within the program. So for students in our AAS, I think it would be very beneficial for them for the articulation agreement, to have the articulation agreement.
And just to add, I mean, a tool like T-Rex provides the transparency of articulation agreements, because
Right.
as soon as one of those courses don't transfer properly, the articulation agreement just doesn't work. It's a piece of paper. So
Right.
it enables advisors and faculty and program directors who develop the articulations to kind of periodically check that the actual equivalencies are still set up the way that they were agreed upon.
Right. Excellent. Any other questions we have in the chat? It looks like, Alana, you're being recruited to introduce T-Rex to this.
I see.
Love it. Love it. This is great. Get the word out.
I'll be calling Chris.
Any other questions today for either presenter? Please put them in the chat. We have a few more minutes. All right, looks like we're getting some great feedback. Bummed about the associates transfer reality. All right, well, we'll see if anything else comes up, but I can take a minute to promote our upcoming sessions. And Alana, I don't know if you wanted to share that last slide. All right, so hello everybody, thank you for being here today. My name is Danny Ambrose and I am the Assistant Dean of Student Support at Gutman Community College. It's been really great to have your participation throughout the event. This was a big deal. We were excited to kick off Transfer Tuesdays and to have a really strong showing. And so we're really, really grateful for the enthusiasm and the commitment to transfer that we're feeling here in this Zoom room. So thank you again for being here. And we wanted to promote the upcoming Transfer Tuesdays. So we have several sessions, well, 3 more sessions coming up. The next one on March 2nd. And the March 2nd theme is College Beyond the Classroom, Engagement and Career Exploration. April 13th, plugging the leaky transfer pipeline, and May 4th, Nursing Alternatives, Exploring Other Healthcare Related Degrees. And so we really want to encourage you to come to those sessions. We will resend the registration link. I think many of you have registered for the sessions, through May, but we will send the link in case you want to hop on any of those other sessions, and also promote it to colleagues and folks, in CUNY and in the New York City network as well. These are open to our, CUNY and NYC partners. And so following today's session, you also will receive a link to an evaluation. So we would love your feedback on how the session went. We want to make improvements for next time. And your feedback is greatly appreciated. And finally, there will be on March 19th, a BTAG Summit that will be from 9 to 11, a half-day event. And so invitations for that will be going out soon. And so we really want to make sure that folks are involved in that piece, and especially create a space for faculty across the community to come together to explore the issues surrounding transfer. So thank you. We have recorded the presentation and it will be posted on the BTAG website. So within the coming days, we will notify folks once that is available. And there we go. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's coming up in the chat now. But I think we are all good. So unless there's any other comments from any of the other moderators, you get back 10 minutes. I mean, we were ahead of schedule. I was excited that we were on time and maybe a little ahead of schedule. That's a great thing.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent. We'll see you on March 2nd.